Welcome to GenZ Talks. This is your host, Ryan Solomon, the head of community and content at Entre. At Entre, we built a social network for entrepreneurs, investors, creators, and freelancers. Every week, this show is recorded live on Entre, and I get to interview the most ambitious and young entrepreneurs and investors from around the world. And if you'd like to be a part of our next episode of GenZ Talks, maybe even get to come up on stage and ask a question, make sure to head over to joinentre.com and register for GenZ Talks. Now that that's out of the way, it's time to kick things off. Let's go. This week, we wanted to talk a little bit about crypto, future, where it's going, and a lot of incredible projects that have been going on between Loot, Solana, and a million other things that have just been going all over online. And I brought on my friend Pryce to talk a little bit more about his take and his opinions and kind of what he's been seeing in the market as a whole. And if you do ever want to come up on stage and join the conversation, so it does look like we have a pretty solid, tight-knit group here. If you do ever want to come up on stage a little bit into the conversation, you can just hit the little raise hand button down at the bottom. Pryce, welcome to the stage. I'd love for you to share a little about yourself, who you are, what you've done, and then we'll kind of jump into the crypto stuff.
Yeah, so I'm Pryce. I've got a background working with startups here, and so I'm from Washington University in St. Louis. I've been pretty involved in like the entrepreneurial ecosystem here in St. Louis, working with startups. And after that, I've done some internships in big tech, and more recently, for the past 4 months, I've been delving really deep into crypto, and that's where I've been spending most of my time. So, like, I've joined a couple DAOs, just worked learning more about the space, trying to do some writing in the space. And right now I'm taking a leave of absence to just go like full time on crypto and building in the space. So I've kind of like delved fully into it, like all in, and I've had a lot of fun doing it. So really excited to talk to everyone about like crypto and the space and like where I see it going, because I think there's just so much potential in like how this space and how it organizes people to do amazing things. So super excited to talk with everyone.
Absolutely amazing. And since we do have a tighter group, like I had said, if you do want to come up on stage and you have questions about crypto as a whole, the industry, or maybe you have a hot opinion, you guys are all welcome to hit the raise hand button and talk with myself, Pryce, and Michael. I think Michael is on another call, so I'm not sure if he's going to be jumping in on this at the moment. But to jump right into things, Pryce, I kind of want to ask, what are some of your favorite projects that are going on? I know you mentioned DAOs, and I'd also like you to give a little definition of what a DAO is.
So yeah, I guess I'll split this up into two parts. I'll explain what a DAO is first, because I think that'll give better context into what some of my favorite projects are. But a DAO is a decentralized autonomous organization. So basically you can think of it like an LLC, but basically there's a lot more ownership more early on in the company, in the existence of the company. So or sometimes it's not even a company, it's just a group of people who have like a shared, like a community that has a shared cap table and balance sheet. And there's a lot of what happens is there's governance where like people use their tokens to vote on for certain things. One thing I think is exciting about DAOs is that like a lot of them are sort of formed around these multi-sig treasuries. And what that means is multiple people have to sign off before any transaction of money is sent. And so that allows for a lot of decentralization of power. It's not just one person like saying, we're going to do this, that, and that, like the credit card in one person's hand for like access to all the company's money, but it's actually split amongst multiple people. And from there you can do voting, where people can propose like certain things that like the company does or doesn't do. And then like from there, the signers can like can all sign off on the community's choice. And so I think that just unlocks so many really amazing applications of how large groups of people can work together to achieve goals. And I think just there are so many people working to build out like stronger tools so that like we can really stretch the idea of what autonomous can mean and like what these organizations can do working together. But really, there's a lot of different definitions of what a DAO can be, and it can take a lot of different forms. But so talking about what some of my favorite projects are right now is, I'm not sure if you guys have seen Loot, but Loot has been incredibly exciting to me. Basically, it's just these NFTs, and all they are basically just TXT files with items on it, randomly generated items. Basically, what you get like in a drop in like RuneScape, but just in text form, like, you know, a gold sword or something like that. But really, what you can do with that is you can build like if it's in like its like base form of like just a text file, like anyone can build like a game on top of that. And I think it's where its entire back end is run through like a blockchain. And I think it's just been really exciting to see all these people like build on top of this ecosystem. And also like some of these like TXT files have been selling for like 500K and like 100K. So it's been really just, and this all just happened in the past 2 weeks. And it's just been really exciting to see just how fast these ecosystems can bloom and spread out. And because everything's open source, they've been forked. And like, I even helped Loop fork that was like this project around, making a drug selling game, which was really fun to work on. And, we made our own sort of like loot drops. And, there was a time when we were like the largest, the project that like was taking up the most bandwidth on the Ethereum network. So that was really cool to be a part of. But yeah, some other projects I'm really excited about. I'm really excited about everything that's happening on the Solana ecosystem. I think that there's so much promise in that. And like I don't think there's just gonna, I don't think there's going to be a bunch of different blockchains, but I do think there's space for like, Solana in the ecosystem, and really excited to see like, especially they have like really low transaction fees. So I think that's something that a lot of really amazing projects that like can benefit from blockchains, can be built way easier on Solana network. But yeah, I've been ranting for a while. Would love to kind of take any questions or hear like if anyone else wants to like talk about projects they're excited about.
Yeah, so I wanted to jump in and have you touch a little bit on Solana for a second, because I've seen it all over on all of my feeds. That it's kind of like the next big thing. It's a big competitor to Ethereum. What are the reasons? You said lower transaction fees. What are some of the reasons why Solana could potentially, or I'm not sure if it even could potentially overtake Ethereum, but why it is such a big competitor? And I know the price has just absolutely skyrocketed over the past few weeks.
So I'd say like one thing it has going for it is it's very fast, in addition to like low transaction fees. So like the block, so like there's block times, you know, like like there's the transactions are sent in like blocks where like, you know, the one node will like validate them, but I can't remember the specific times that for Ethereum. I just know that like it's really, really short for Solana. So like, just things can happen way faster on the Solana network, as in addition to the really low transaction fees, but also like it's a venture backed blockchain. Andreessen Horowitz, like backed them like earlier this year, and has backed a lot of the projects on it. So it has a lot of credibility in its ecosystem for like venture and startups. So that's one thing it has going for it that's like really powerful. And whenever they have like a hackathon or an event, it's not just like crypto influencers that are showing up to judge. It's VC, some of like the most like credible people out there. So I think that's one thing that their ecosystem has going for them. And not to say that like Ethereum doesn't have like, you know, that same credibility. It's just I think it's had like from its start, or not its start, but earlier on, it's had like just a lot pure of that like sort of credibility, if that makes sense.
No, that makes a ton of sense. Did Vitalik, was he also a Teal fellow, or am I crazy?
Vitalik was a Teal fellow. Yeah.
He was. Okay. That's what I thought. So he had some of that credibility, but at the same time, it wasn't as accepted. You know, like no one whenever he went through the Teal Fellowship, no one knew what the heck Bitcoin or crypto really was.
Yeah,
Probably at that time, but I guess Peter Thiel was quite far ahead.
exactly. Oh, Ryan, I think Ryan raised his hand.
Yeah, and did you raise your hand? Maybe. Maybe not. But you should definitely pop up. Um, Let me see here. I also have seen. I saw this tweet the other day. It was like how to make. It was like how to make $1 million. And it was just like a whole array of like PNG files. It was like 5 hats, 10 monkey faces, 3. You kind of get what I'm going at.
Yeah.
Of all the just different combinations of creating NFTs. So have you done some of your own projects on your own, or have you done some projects with other people?
So Dope Wars Loot, the one I was talking about, that's the only project I've helped out with. But it was just really interesting to be part of that energy and like see how excited people got about like something I had helped build and like write part of the text for. But yeah, I tend to like pass no judgment on sort of like NFT projects because like, um, I don't know what's going to be successful. And I know what I like. I don't know what other people are going to like. And I just think it's like, it's a really cool, it's really exciting to see that like people are like, putting so much value on art. Again, and like, I think a lot of creators, especially those from like marginalized groups are like finding a lot of, like, opportunity in this. I'm not gonna, but I'd say NFTs is something that is not really an area I understand too well. But it's been really exciting to see and watch.
I got you. And do you have any advice for like with your experience for being part of Loot, um, to what made Loot successful? And as you're talking, for anyone who is on web, I'm going to screen share so you guys can see um, Loot. Like as you were saying, it was literally text files.
So I didn't help with Loot. I helped with Dope Wars Loot. It was a fork of that, probably like the second, like the second or third most successful fork of Loot.
What is it? How do you spell it?
Dope Wars Loot.
Dope Wars.
Yeah.
I got it. So can you explain what a fort is then? To
Fork is basically when you just like kind of copy the code of another project, if that makes sense. And then you like edit it or like you build like on top of it.
I got it.
So yeah,
That makes a lot of sense.
I helped build this. Not the website or anything, but just like some of the project.
So you think that could probably cut down a lot of just the build time?
Of forking?
Yes.
So I think forking is sort of like it's more of like when you see a project that's like it's like that inspires you, like it's basically like, so loot was a medieval, like, sort of like, I don't know, not like sword, like a game like RuneScape, and the person who like sort of was leading this wanted to make a game that was more like GTA. And so we could basically just take that code base, and then just edit it to our needs. And then like, so like we were inspired by what they did, but we wanted to take into a different direction. And that's sort of like that is a lot of projects in crypto, like, taking inspiration from someone else. And then since it's like open source, you can make it fork and like do it the way you want it to do it.
Man, interesting. Okay, that makes a lot of sense, and honestly, a super helpful thing that I didn't know. Ryan Meyer, who's in the audience, me and him are picking brains on a little project. That we'll see how it comes together. Still kind of low key, but something that we're considering doing is a little side hustle NFT project. I know a couple other people who are doing some cool things in the audience as well. Let's see here. And then I wanted to ask too, and you've gotten very, very indulged in the whole space. What sites have you been using kind of to one, get your bearings, right? As in like, I think you don't know what you don't know. So like if someone is like, yo, I want to jump into crypto, what do I do? Where do I start? And just kind of understand what a smart contract is, a protocol, things like that. And then secondly, where could you go for more of that long-term, more enriched, I guess, like information?
It's all Twitter. It's all Twitter, to be honest. It's like finding it's like finding some of the like most like some of the people who are the most involved in the space and then figuring out like who they follow. And then just like I think a lot of times that you'll be able to find like threads on like that's either some of these people wrote or that they so like I'd say like Twitter and maybe like reading and I say like reading Medium articles with a lot of pause because some people write really weird Medium articles. But like I'd say finding reputable sources to follow on Twitter is one of the best things I can recommend. Like I'd say like Gabby Goldberg, she's someone who's like delved into delved into crypto very deeply lately. And she's like curated some of the best resources. So like checking out some of her threads would be really helpful. And then figuring out who she follows. And she's maybe more on like the sort of thesis driven side of crypto rather than like if you want to learn how to do development. But I think still like maybe even like, figuring out who some of these like CEOs of notable crypto companies are and then figuring out who they follow, I think could be really helpful. And then another thing is like DAOs. Just most DAOs are open communities where people can pitch in and contribute. I think just trying to join a DAO is one of the most helpful things you can do to learn crypto. A lot of the communities are very, very helpful. But and like teaching and showing how to learn. But one thing I'd also recommend is just trying to find like there's also a lot of great information on YouTube too. So and I'd say there's also a big difference between sort of like the investing in crypto side versus like sort of the building crypto. And I like to stay on the building side, and that's the side I would recommend too. I mean, I think you'll like even if your sole purpose is to just like invest to make money, you'll learn more trying to build than like just staying on the the invest and make a bunch of money side of crypto. That's not the side I enjoy.
Bro, the Dogecoin to the moon. Come on now.
Yeah.
No, that's honestly a really, really good point. I mean, for myself, I could see that more on just like general startups as in like being a part of Entre helped me learn. Like I always think back like what the hell would I be doing because this is the first startup I was ever a part of and exposed to. And if I didn't end up joining, like what the heck would I be doing? I wouldn't be having these conversations about crypto or Doge or everything else.
Yeah.
So generally getting yourself involved in a project, I think that's honestly a really, really good point, especially because there's a million projects that are going on all the time.
Yeah, there's a lot of money flowing through right now, and it's like, it's there's like, and a lot of these projects they will like pay you to contribute, and it's not just like smart contract stuff. It's like writing guides for them or writing or helping them with like content marketing and things like that. It could be a lot of different things, but a lot of DAOs are like looking really hard for talent. And I think that's a role like a lot of people, Gen Z people could fill. So.
And that makes a lot of sense. And actually an idea that I saw this on Twitter somewhere before. Someone had tweeted, we need product hunt, but for crypto projects. It's something like that exists.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Because if not, like I'm just gonna whip up Bubble real quick and start building this because like that could probably be built. I don't know. Ryan would know better. He's more the Bubble guy than me. I could figure it out though, in like a week or two. So that's if anyone wants to snag a quick business, there we go. As long as you share your progress here at Entre.
Yeah, it sounds great. Help with that.
Yeah, no, honestly, all right, we got another project to jump on. And if anyone else wants to jump up and has some questions for myself and Pryce, don't hesitate to hit the little raise hand feature. If not, we'll just keep kicking it. Another question I wanted to ask is, this is honestly just more of a fun question than a deep divulge, is if you could only hold one crypto, what would it be?
Um, Probably definitely ETH. I'm very bullish on ETH and the ecosystem and the devs that are in the space.
And that helps me kind of lead into my next question. Of, I think there's a lot of people, myself sometimes included, but it has hit many times, is many times just following a bandwagon, right? Oh, I see enough people talking about this. Like, what, I'll throw $50 in and hope for the best, right? There's a lot of people who just kind of freeball with crypto. Um, Whenever you look at a project, what are those key things that you look for? I know before you mentioned like being backed by A16Z or maybe the founding team, because it almost, while I'm talking, it almost sounds like I'm talking about how you analyze like startups. I feel like it's kind of similar.
Yeah, it's pretty similar. It's um, but I think it's not just that. It's like it's also I think actually no, it's a lot of a lot of the same. Like team, who are they backed by? Like is this product like a real? Is this like product or protocol like a real need? And I think one thing that's also like really powerful, but not end all be all, is like community. In the crypto space, there are a lot of projects that had like really great hyped up communities, and then it turned out to be like uh, a scam. But I think community is also something that's really really important in crypto, because that's the driver of how like things find adoption and how things grow. But I think that but man it like that balance with the regular tools that we use that have always been used and are used in Web 2 world, I think are how you like validate like a a crypto product, or a crypto company.
And when it comes to community, what does that mean? Is that just building projects on the blockchain or people being active in the Discord or?
I'd say a lot like active in the Discord, I guess. And like if there are people like, engaging with like their leadership on Twitter, and like, that they're having like that people are talking about this project and that it's like solving problems for people, or people are like, a lot of these projects, they turn into DAOs. Or like, are people like, voting consistently? Are people like, excited about the new products that are being launched? That kind of thing, I guess.
Yeah, I got you. Okay. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And that's like, it's weird because like it's so hard to find projects, I guess you could say early. Like I think Solana is like an example that we've been using because like I had not a clue what it was until a few weeks ago. Right. But I only knew because of, I swear, I'm almost certain I saw Gabby Goldberg post about it, ironically. And then I saw a couple other people tweet about it and I looked, started looking into it a little bit.
Yeah. I actually, my first sort of like touch point with Solana was their hackathon that they did earlier this summer. They've really been doing a lot of stuff, and just like, I was blown away with just how, inviting and welcoming their team was. And just like, they were very communicative. They were excited about what we were building. Like, it was just, I think that was when I knew that they were going to keep going and it was going to blow up.
And with that, with them doing a hackathon, what did they do that on? Was it in person or was that um on Zoom?
It was virtual and like 3 weeks long.
Oh damn. Okay.
And I think like some companies that were like in it have gone on to like raise like Series A's, or
That's
and it's
honestly wild.
it's
That is super honestly something we might want to put on our roadmap a little bit for getting
uh,
some hackathons going.
yeah, hackathons. I think yeah, they were really great for like building. I think one thing that like Solana really wanted to do is like, Ethereum has like just like such a deep like, one of the most powerful things about it is they just have such a deep developer community, like with like so many people building all over the world. And one thing that like Solana has been trying to do through those hackathons is like build something out similar. And I think they've been doing it. It still doesn't like match Ethereum's like developer community, but like it's gotten a lot bigger.
And with having that developer community, that just kind of gives it more, I guess, authenticity.
Um, it's not like really authenticity, like just having more people who like can build on your technology and who want to build on your technology is like big for blockchains.
And I'd love for you to give like a quick I know the explanation I was given before was that Bitcoin is like an app on the App Store, and then Ethereum is the iOS. Or not Bitcoin just being like a singular thing. Honestly, being the app on Ethereum, I guess that analogy doesn't make 100%, but more of Ethereum being the iOS is the bigger one.
So, the way I think it was thought about it is like Bitcoin is like money, and Ethereum is like, people say programmable money, but like there's just so many really cool things that like I don't like. I've heard a really good analogy for it, but I forgot about it. But like, I just think that Ethereum has like a lot of like dynamicism and like what you can do with like the code versus like Bitcoin. Like its main purpose is just like, transactions versus like you can do so many crazy interesting things with like this like basically new like backbone of like the internet.
That makes a lot of sense. And also you're a programmer yourself as well, right?
Yeah.
So you know Solidity?
Yep.
Awesome. And one thing I was told is Solidity is not that difficult to learn whenever you already know Java and JavaScript.
Yeah. It's not too bad to learn.
Got it.
Anyone who wants to learn it, I just recommend Crypto Zombies.
Crypto Zombies, the YouTube channel?
No, it's like this sort of like code academy type class, but it's free and you can just find it on the internet and just like work your way through and learn how to code in Solidity.
That is honestly clutch. I might just do that for fun. I took Java and JavaScript in high school, so it's been a little while, but I bet we can figure it out.
Awesome. Yeah, check it out. I'm a big fan.
I also wanted to jump into, like we all saw that El Salvador had recently just made Bitcoin a legal currency, and I was talking to my older brother about that, and I said it's not long until the US does that, and he said that it's not going to happen because the US would never switch off the dollar. And I'm very curious on what your take is.
Oh,
yeah.
This is political. I don't think I'll talk too much on this. But
more economic.
I have been reading about like the United States exploring in depth launching their own like digital dollar. So I think that's something to watch out for. But in terms of like US like making Bitcoin legal tender, not so sure about that.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. I told my brother that I think it's more likely to happen. He said Bitcoin's gonna get banned, and I said it's more likely that it becomes a legal currency, or at least I know the mayor of Miami was trying to say that we were going to be able to pay our taxes with Bitcoin. So we'll see, but I think it would be super interesting to see how it goes. We already know that China's cracking down on it, and I'm sure other countries will be too.
Yeah, I don't think the United States is going to ban it, but I don't know if they'll make it legal tender. I think like the US government, benefits a lot from having the money printer. So
yeah, that is a very good point of them being able to just print money on demand, which they're like, yeah, but that's a whole nother problem to jump into. But it would be very interesting, like you're saying, it's going to make their own crypto that had operated similarly to Bitcoin, or I don't even know, just something that is of deflationary asset is more the bigger point. for the US dollar, because then no politician or anyone would really have the capabilities to inflate our currency.
Yeah. So my theory is we're either going to get like either one of the existing stable coins is going to get heavily like regulated to the point where the US government would feel comfortable like making it legal tender, or they're gonna make their own. That's my theory.
Yeah, and could you explain a little bit on what a stable currency is? I'm super bullish on them as well, not as a necessarily an investment opportunity, but it's just like a really cool piece of tech.
So it's not something I understand in depth, but I know there's quite a few like stable coins that are pegged. So like this pegged to the US dollar. That means like in their tech stack, either each coin is pegged to like a US dollar. Like this group has like say like Coinbase. They at least in the past they promised each one of our USDC coins means we have $1 in the bank that represents it. But some groups they have this sort of like they say they have like a tech stack or algorithm that allows them to keep like their dollar always at a stable point of like their coin always at a stable point of like where it equals $1. And I think they're really interesting and necessary for like just like having a like the ecosystem in a place where like we can like potentially like buy things in crypto, if buy things like at a grocery store or pay our rent in crypto, if that makes sense.
That does. That's definitely what I'm starting to see. And I'm not sure if you remember when Facebook was doing their own stable currency as well. The name changed like once or twice. I can't remember what it's called for the life of me, but it was tied to all of the other major stable currencies. So like the dollar, the franc, the euro, the yen, which I thought was a really, really interesting play. And TZ, welcome to the stage. Long time no see from like an hour ago.
Hey guys, yeah, I been listening in casually. Yeah, I got a lot of thoughts around all this stuff, but you hit it on the head with stablecoin. I think the terminology that comes to mind when you think about stablecoin, it's about liquidity. It's being able to kind of like have derivatives that's tied to a stable asset, such as the dollar. It's like every other country ties it to the dollar. It's the same concept. Think of it as like a mirror. You can have a proxy that represents something that you can bank on. So that's why the US dollar is pretty much, what every country bases their economic system around. In crypto land, it's kind of the same idea. So stablecoin is really to kind of represent liquidity. So you can move assets around different chains or asset classes. It's tied to something that has confidence. That's what stablecoins represent. So don't think of it as like a tradable asset. Think of it as more like a liquidity mechanism. So you can think of it as like anything that has a float or a market is going to probably have a stable coin because it has to have some sort of foundation. That's how I look at it.
That makes sense.
Yeah. To an extent, nothing is stable. True story. True story. Yeah. But stable coins are kind of like, creating a whole new category of finance or derivatives. You'll see like DeFi, decentralized finance. It's based on that. I mean, like I'm heavily leveraged out on different asset classes, including crypto. So I'll give you an example if you're interested. Like instead of like borrowing money from a bank, you can borrow money from crypto land, and have higher liquidity, lower interest rate, and you'll be able to buy more assets based on this. And by crypto land, you just mean the general public of anyone who has crypto?
No, it's going to be a trusted resource like BlockFi, for example. BlockFi is innovating in the space. So there's going to be an element of trust that's third party, that's verified. So you just can't accept all asset classes on crypto land. I mean, it's got to be like Bitcoin, Ethereum, or some of the other tradable assets. Whatever's part of that pool, curve, look in the curve if you're interested in that, whole thing. But yeah, so you have like, they're called liquidity pools, and they're essentially kind of like quant-based understanding of how markets move in crypto land. That's what establishes trust. So you're going to see, those derivatives or those tokens essentially kind of prop up DeFi. But yeah, I mean, it's Bitcoin. You look at your top 10. That's basically it. And now you have Solana kind of like creeping up. So it's interesting.
I got a question here. I'll ask both of you from someone in the audience from Echelon Dep saying, also, I still hear people are investing in crypto memes. Do you have any advice for people investing in Safe Moon, Shiba Inu, etc.?
Be careful.
No comment. I thought you were just gonna say don't. Oh, I'm in on Doge. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I've to the mange myself on that one, but that's play money in my book. Like, sure, but Shiba, I don't know, man. I think you run the risk of a lot of pump of them. It's just okay. Here's how I look at that. You know how you can find kind of truth is understand Discord really well and know who's actually behind the scenes pumping stuff. I'm in a few Discord channels that, they're going to pump and they unabashedly will say the pump is going to happen 3 days before it happens. Right. I mean, that, Discord is your friend, if you want to understand that game. But I do think if you step back a little bit and just kind of understand what's happening, generally speaking, think of it as more of a cultural, artifact of what's happening in crypto. Crypto is a cultural, phenomenon. So just understand culture. You'll probably find it there. Pryce, any other comments on Shiba, Doge?
Not really. No. I mean, it's just, I think I really agree with TZ, with what TZ said. A lot of times there like are some like, I think a lot about like mainly with these like, sort of like meme coins. Like if you even go and look, you can see like that, like there are certain people, that they refer to as whales who own like a certain amount of the supply and who can like have a lot of control over like, what the price is at certain times, especially with these meme coins. If you go look at like the distribution of things. And so I think, sort of being cognizant of that and maybe watching their behavior very closely is important to like, safeguard your assets.
Love it. I also, oh man, I just lost my train of thought. Oh, okay, I know where I was going to jump into. To their point, definitely, I bought it on Doge like a year before the pump. Like there was a pump going on TikTok and I threw in like $25 or up to like $40. And I was like, cool. And then I sold, or maybe I don't know how much I sold it for. It went to 50 and I sold and I had like $10 left in it. And then this pump happened. We didn't even have $10. I think it was only a couple of dollars, which was tough, but you can't win them all. And then the one other thing I wanted to jump into, Pryce, TZ, I'm not sure how much knowledge you have on Web3, but for those in the audience who don't know what Web3 is, I think one of you guys can definitely explain it a little better than I can. Pryce, would you like to give an explanation of Web3?
I guess I'm not sure if I know the definition like crazy well, but I guess from my understanding, it ties into sort of this idea that like, if Web 2 is about like, sort of selling your identity for access, Web 3 is about like ownership and like actually owning pieces of the things you engage with and being able to like sort of like have like more control and ownership about the way you interact with the internet. TZ, I might be wrong here if you if you have a better idea. Like,
no, I think you hit it on the head, like totally spot on. Okay, I think Web3, I think you're looking at Web3 today with NFTs. I don't think people realize that yet. I don't know. I'll be a little bit, whatever. But Web3 is, Web3 is all about verifiable assertions. Like if you say that you're part of a network, are you really part of a network? Like NFTs verify that you are a part of a network. Now, you may like it or love it or hate it, whatever. But if you own a CryptoPunk, you're part of a network. I can say that. And there's an element of meritocracy, but I struggle with this myself. I don't own CryptoPunk, but I've been involved in NFTs since like 2016. I actually written credentialing platforms for education that's all about tokenizing achievements. So I've seen the wave happening like in front of my face, and I'm like, I can't get behind art. I mean, I love art, don't get me wrong, but it's not about the art. It's about, verifiable assertions. So I think you hit it on the head. This is Web3. This is the new social network. That's how I look at it.
It's very weird because for me, I'm very bullish on crypto, but also parts of me are just like, especially whenever I see NFTs going for $100,000, I'm just shook. Like part of me is just like, I think one of the stances that I have is that I keep seeing a lot of like people trying to throw everything on the blockchain, and that always confuses me to whether every single thing needs to be on the blockchain and tokenized. Am I the only one that's just like, now Uber's decentralized? You're like, well, did it need to be? Is it better now? That's one of the things that always confuses me.
I guess, yeah, I've been thinking about that quite a bit. And I think you're absolutely right about that. Not everything needs to be tokenized. Not everything needs to be on the blockchain. And we're definitely in a place right now where I think, sometime like there are a couple like projects that are probably out there that, have raised a bunch of money, but they're going to like learn pretty fast that their solution, is like, it's not like that valuable. But on the same note, there are so many industries that can like benefit from this. Like, I'm someone who really loves DAOs. And one thing that I've seen is like, you've seen that like a lot of creators have been able to like monetize their content and like been able to create things that like have gone through a ton of value. So I have this like one thesis that any industry that makes like an outsized return from an individual's or like group of people's work, while they're not like making a substantial piece of that like pie, is going to get disrupted by like crypto and the way crypto helps people claim ownership and monetize their work. So that's something I'm really bullish on. But at the same time, like I agree with what you said.
Yeah, I would agree with that too. I think there's a meme like tokenize all the things. I actually had a hedge fund reach out to me that their whole thesis was to tokenize every single thing they could. And it was like when I looked at their kind of like ask, I'm like, is really? I'm like, philosophically, I don't agree with this, like this whole idea, like I don't think everything needs to be tokenized. So yeah, I mean, I think you're right. I think the more you can make it merit-based, the better. And I think art is really good with merit because Beeple is Beeple and you can't replicate him. I mean, you could try, but I mean, you can look at the artists as like true, like authenticity. Now I think there are kind of like problems with tokenization where, how do you verify, authenticity? Well, that's called sovereign identity. That means you own your identity. So that means, you really have to have an understanding of, identity as an element of the future of Web3. So I know that tokenization and identity are key principles. And so I don't think, for example, or, Rarible and all these like third-party platforms, then all of a sudden you have these artists that are giving their identity to these third-party platforms. And I think that's ultimately an Achilles heel. So I think there's some evolution that needs to happen for it to really take form.
And by identity, you mean just you being able to not have to give your identity to OpenSea? No, it's just simply saying yes or no. If Beeple was to say, is that my work? And Beeple says, yes, that's actually my work, and this person actually owns it. Beeple should be the one that controls that message.
To think that a third party can control whether or not default says yes or no is a problem. In a broader scheme, it's the first principle.
I gotcha. That makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, it's no different than like you trying to log in on a platform on a website. It's like someone else tries to log in on your behalf, then are you sure? It adds an element of self-distrust.
No, that makes a lot of sense. I think it's gonna be a very interesting world with Web3, and actually, especially I think Pryce touched on it earlier, with content creators. That's where I'm already starting to see it being very, very practical, especially because not only are content creators producing content, they're also building communities in themselves. Like, if you could invest in Mr. Beast, I bet you would. You could have invested in Mr. Beast 5 years ago, 10 years ago, whatever. And now that token is worth so much more because you have the Mr. Beast token. I think that's huge. I also think with, what's his face? Oh, why can't I think of it? Oh, there's a guy named, I think he made the Alex token where he tokenized himself. Or am I crazy? You guys know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, Alex is dope.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've talked to him before, either on Twitter or Discord or somewhere, a couple of, I think. But yeah, you tokenized himself, so I guess people have control over some of his life decisions. People are able to vote on what he should do in his life, which is like kind of crazy. That's next level. It's so next level.
Oh my gosh, I can't imagine that. Okay, cool. Well, that's the case study. The Alex, right?
No, for sure. And honestly, I mean, like you said with the meme, tokenize everything. We'll choose which unicorn you're going to be today, and what you're going to dress, everything. But I wanted to ask, does anyone in the audience have any more questions for myself, Pryce, TZ? We've covered DAOs, we've covered Ethereum, Solana, good resources, Web3, little dabble in the creator economy. TZ, are there any startups that you've seen recently, more so than just projects, you've seen just in DeFi or crypto space that have been exciting to you?
Microacquire has been on my list for quite a while. And Pipe, the partnership. I think they're kind of like flipping the tables in VC land. I know it's not in crypto, but it's startup centric. So, yeah, that's it. And like Pryce said, there's a lot of DAOs that I'm looking at. So I definitely think DAOs are the future. MakerDAO specifically, if you noticed.
Wait, which DAO was that?
MakerDAO. Maker.
Gotcha. I'm going to pull it up as we're talking real quick, so I just want to look it up. MakerDAO. Put it up on Twitter, and we'll go over to the quick. That did not work. I'm not sure where. Oh, Maker.
Yeah, Maker. And I recently joined another DAO. It was Developer DAO. Kind of interesting. As an engineer, it's like loot for developers. Kind of fun.
A better smart currency DAI. Wait, what? Is it? Or no? Yeah, can be used by anyone, anywhere, anytime. The world's first unbiased currency, DAI is a stable, decentralized currency that does not determine any individual or businesses. Sorry, only like that. I got my makers and ultras though. You just screwed up. So Ultra DAO. So I'm Ultra. I might do. Ultra or Ultra? Yeah, I'll go to Ultra DAO. Ultra DAO and Pure DAO is for DeFi. So sorry about that. Yep. Ultra DAO. Oh, it came up with some shampoo. That's not what we're looking for. Snowboards. What the?
Oh, DAO.
So that will do it. Ultra DAO is a group of artists and art collectors working together to create a strong community through art and technology. The core ethos of Ultra DAO is to shape and support new ways to create and experience art. We use our influence to support and promote artists, bring new perspectives through unique self-expression and formats. We collect important digital artifacts that will be preserved and shared with the world. Interesting. We got the whole team. That's a big team. Interesting. And then the Discord. It's crazy how Discord has just taken off recently. Like, people have been using it, like, I didn't start using it until this past year. Woody's 10,000 forest features looking for a way home.
I kind of want one of those.
I was waiting for it. These are all kind of fresh.
They're pretty fresh.
Like, they're pretty fresh. Whoa. We'll open it. We'll see. We'll do a little chase. We'll do a little test. How we were saying, how do you authenticate a project? We'll pull it up in Discord. I do have the app as well, but we're just gonna go through this way.
I don't know. I think I just like the JPEG. You know, sometimes it's not about flipping. You know.
Messages failed to load. I think we can't trust this one. TZ.
Woody don't want a Woody.
Oh, here we go. So anyway, it looks like they got an active community. People are popping off. Search party, verified. Interesting. I'll definitely pop on through it a little bit later, but it looks like they've got 3 admin and 75 early birds. And then 167 online. So like only a couple hundred people, guys. There you go. TZ's pretty early on this. But I think we've only got a few minutes left here, and I don't have too much else to roll through here, Pryce. Do you have any other last words, wise words of wisdom for people who want to support you, help you, for people that want to get more into crypto? Any wise words of wisdom for people listening?
Get on Twitter and join a DAO. It's a brave new world out there, folks. There's just so much fun to be had and opportunities to be made.
I love it, and I'll follow up with you another time. Maybe pick your brain on this one that myself and Ryan are cooking up as just like it's an early idea. Get your take on that.
Yeah, let me know. I'd love to chat.
So, but well, and TZ, do you have any wise words of wisdom for the crew listening in before we wrap up?
No, I just keep at it, man. Let's jump on Entre more. That's it. It's good gear.
Absolutely love it. And I'm going to be upgrading people's profiles so they can start hosting their own rooms. So if you guys do want to be one of those people, shoot me a message and I can shoot you the quick little waitlist form. We just started upgrading some people, so more people are going to be able to start hosting their own rooms and start building their own communities here. And be on the lookout for the pitch feed, entre.link/pitch, if you want to start pitching your startup to our entire community. So thank you so much, everyone, for popping in. Thank you, Pryce, for being an awesome speaker. And thank you, TZ, for popping up and hanging out. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of GenZ Talks. Make sure to connect with me and thousands of other entrepreneurs, investors, and creators over at joinentre.com. Or you can download our mobile app for both iOS and Android. Also, don't forget to follow us on social at Join Entre.